My name is Gora EXL. I was born March 1st. I'm no one special. My father reminds me of that daily. I grew up being hated by the only person who surrounded me. My father told me I killed my mother when I was younger. She died giving birth to me. He told me I looked just like her, and he couldn't stand that. He had blonde hair, I had dark brown hair, like her. We shared the same eye color, and every time he looked into my eyes, he saw her. And he would punish me for that, daily, nightly, whenever he felt like it. I learned how to take a hit before I learned how to talk. I learned how to hate before I learned how to love. I still don't know how to love. No one cares about me, and no one ever will. I was born in a pure blood family, though I didn't care. Blood status meant nothing to me, which angered my father more. It seemed like anything I did angered him. So what was the point in even trying? He wouldn't speak to me, he wouldn't look at me. He just used me as a punching bag, and I let him. He would hit me and I would just stand there while he did so. I had no fight in me. I was as worthless as he said. I stayed silent when he punched me. I screamed the first time, and he abused me worse the next time. No one saved me then. No one will save me now. We live on the outskirts of London in a large dark-style mansion. There wasn't anything friendly about the house. Our grass was dead outside, along with all the trees. Inside our house was just as depressing. 2 bedrooms. Mine was upstairs and his was downstairs. He wanted me to be up there so he can have some personal space. I stayed away as long as I could. One day, when he was yelling at me, I left my house. Even if that is called a house. I ran away from home and down the dirty path that led to a popular portkey spot. I was planning on taking the portkey to anywhere else. I was a witch, but I was planning on moving with the muggers, if it meant safety from him. But 30 minutes into my walk, I found a new trail, so I took it. It led me to a field covered in corn stalks and a large shifty house that blew with the wind. I looked around the yard and saw flowers and a full garden, alive, unlike the one at my house. Their grass was the most vibrant color green I had witnessed. I saw kids playing together, all with a red head, and they were laughing. I don't think I have ever laughed. I watched them from behind a tree I found close by. I could tell it was a family of wizards and witches. Most of the things in their yards are enchanted. and I watched them pick up brooms to fly around and play Quidditch. I always wanted to play Quidditch. I always wanted friends. The red-headed children talked loudly and laughed just as loud. I have 0 siblings and they have 6 in totals out there. I watched as a lady, their mother, I presume, came outside with another sibling and called them into the house. 7 so far. How lucky. I don't know who this family was, but I found myself watching them from afar whenever I ran away from home. What was a home? They have what I think a home is. I just have a place to live. I was envious of the happiness I saw they had, and their mother and father. I learned they had loving them. I can't witness my own father to call me by name. Worthless, waste of resources, disgrace. Was my name even really Cora? I was never called that. Whenever I went back home, my father would refuse me dinner. You left for dinner, so you get none, he exclaims. My only escape was going to the stranger's house and watching them be happy. I stayed far enough, and no one ever noticed me. I had no hobbies. I had nothing to pass the time. I read some wizard books my father had around, but I could only read them about the ministry so many times before I crawled my eyes out. The worst day of my life so far was the day I found out I was placed in Gryffindor. My father sent me away to Hogwarts to be rid of me. He told me he wished he could have done it sooner, and if it wasn't for him working for the ministry, he would have abandoned me earlier on. You're lucky orphaning you could look bad on me here, he would tell me. Cover up your arm when you're here, don't embarrass me. He would say to cover up my bruises from him and cover my face if I had a black eye from his hands. But my first day in Hogwarts was the first time I could ever been praised by my father. Slytherin is the house you need to be in. Get in, and you will find praise from me. I wanted to be a Slytherin so badly. I met with Draco, who my dad introduces me to that day. Draco, this is Cora. You two will be friends, my father demanded of me. I had nothing against Draco. He seemed just as lonely as I was. We sat together on the train ride to Hogwarts. I wore long sleeves, though it was a hot summer day. You aren't hot? A boy I learned was Vincent Carvey said, I'm sweating. She is in fact like you are, pig. Draco said back, which made the other friends he had. George Clear laughed. I'm fine, I said. My father told me I would be punished worse if someone found out about his anger. He would lose his ministry job and that would make my life worse. I didn't want friends, so I stayed quiet the entire ride. Draco didn't bother me after that. He noticed I wanted to be alone, so he let me be. I wanted someone to see through that.